going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Greenzone NFL Recap Edition. I am your host, Cody, and I will be running this one solo today. Appreciate you guys joining in and listening. We're going to be recapping some games, talking a little NFL. Trade deadline ended today at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's been some updates, some team changes, some interesting trades. We'll talk about it. We'll cover it all. Games we'll be focusing on today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bucs-Bills. Got to talk a little bit about the Giants and the Jets. Yikes. Maybe focus a little bit Eagles-Commanders. We'll see how that one goes. Seahawks-Browns. Great game, actually. Great game on Sunday. Bengals-Niners. Got to talk about it. Other than that, we'll kind of bounce around. Probably talk a little bit about each and every game. I don't think I'm going to run through the scores today. I don't think people really give a shit. I don't really give a shit. You can go to ESPN app to really get through the scores. So we'll just kind of start off talking a little bit about the NFL. But please, guys, if you do like this content, consider liking, subscribing, tell your friends, turn on that notification bell. Any little bit helps. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, throw it out there. Let us know what you guys think. I think Dirty Dan should be back with us next week. Fingers crossed. We'll see. I have a podcast maybe coming out this week, maybe next week with the girl Ellie Mack. So stay tuned for that and check it out. Let's get started with NFL recapping. I think first we should really get into the trade deadline because that ended today. Huge trades. I think the biggest one, there's a couple of them with the Commanders having a bit of a fire sale today. Got rid of two of their best defensive linemen. Montez Sweat was first traded to the Bears for a second-round pick. Interesting, because Chase Young was traded to the 49ers for a third-round pick, and you would think Chase Young is graded higher over Montez Sweat. I think the biggest difference would be the injury history for Chase Young. They're probably not too happy with what's going on for him. I believe he tore his ACL last year. But yeah, interesting trades. Commanders are obviously done. They're saying we need to rehash and refigure out what we're going to do. Maybe they're in contention for the Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes. That would be interesting. Stay tuned for that one. That would maybe be a good coaching or a good watch point for next year's NFL draft. Another talking point, which I'll probably hit in a bit, is which coaches are likely to be fired this year, because it's about that time of the year where coaches, GMs, owners are making decisions, getting rid of people, trying to restructure their teams for next year if they're not going to be any good for the rest of this year. So we'll see what happens. We'll touch that in a little bit. Another interesting trade, Josh Dobbs was traded from the Arizona Cardinals to the Minnesota Vikings for a 7th round swap. And the 7th round could become a 6th rounder depending on how much Josh Dobbs plays. I do know they have Nick Mullins, I want to say, coming off IR in a week or two. So maybe that's kind of why they put it around that way to say, hey, if we're not playing him, give us a little bit of extra compensation because we're throwing around that 6. We'll see what happens. I don't know if the Cardinals end up lower than the Vikings. I don't know if that happens in the trades, but we will find out soon here enough. End of week 8, rolling into week 9. Another trade, bigger name, kind of big name. The Packers traded Rasul Douglas to the Bills for a 3rd and a 5th round pick, which is insanely interesting because Douglas really hasn't been steady on a squad for very long. He's gone. He's been a part of roster cuts. He's been here and there. He's had a decent season this year. I do know the Bills need some help in the secondary, so could be one of those picks that turns out to be something of a future with them, maybe. I don't really know because they were also looking to trade Kyrie Elam, so we'll see what happens there. Interesting day for trade deadline. The Niners get a hell of a lot better on defense, adding Chase Young. They just got Randy Gregory. They just signed him not too long ago. They already got some beats with Nick Bosa. And the other fool, I can't remember. Killen? I know they have Greenlaw, but he's a linebacker. Fred Warner, he was hurt last game. I don't know if he was playing. I can't remember. Didn't pay too much attention while I was watching the game. We were paying more attention to the Seahawks and the Browns. So we'll see what happens there. And then the Bears trade for Montez Sweat. Interesting move because I don't see the Bears going anywhere this year. They're not playing well. Their starting quarterback's hurt. Even if they get going, it's not like they're going to contend in their division. The Lions are going to take that one. Maybe even the Vikings with the Josh Dobbs move. We'll see if he's sustainable enough to really propel the Vikings to go anywhere. They need Justin Jefferson to come back. Jordan Addison's a beast, but he can't hold up by himself. TJ Hawkinson's got the moves, but like I said, they really need their number one wide receiver back. So we'll see when Jay Jettis comes back if they can really turn it around. We'll find out. Interesting day in the NFL. God, I love the trade deadline. Probably one of my favorite times of the year, other than obviously football starting. Another trade, not in the NFL, in the NBA. James Harden traded from the 76ers to the Clippers. I don't really get that move. From what I've heard, what I've been listening to media and stuff, it's more of a, hey, we're buying a new stadium. We need someone to help fill seats. So come through, more superstars, the better. Why and what's his face, Paul George, I believe, or potentially could leave after this year. So it might be one of those things to keep a superstar in the building, a big name, big face. Literally, dude needs to lose a little bit of weight sometimes. I wonder if he's gonna be serious with the LA Clippers, but we'll see. The Lakers do play them tomorrow, Wednesday. I believe that's when this podcast comes in. So tomorrow night, tonight, if you're watching this podcast today, Lakers Clippers, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Stay tuned for it. I'm looking forward to it. I got the Lakers gear on. We're ready for it. I'm happy basketball season's back. More of a football fan, but we're happy basketball season is back and rocking and rolling. That's really it for the trades. Wasn't as crazy as I thought it would be. I was thinking maybe after last night Devontae Adams would get traded. That should have probably happened. I don't know why the Raiders are keeping him. They're not going to be good the next few years. They don't have their quarterback of the future. Jimmy G is average, guaranteed at least one pick a game, if not two. They just don't have the firepower to be sustainable. Their defense is meh. They played decent last night against the Lions. Decent, but it wasn't that great of a game. They had a chance. They had a chance at the end of the game to potentially put some points on the board, but they just can't stay consistent on offense. Their defense is putting some work, but their offense is just meh. Meh is the best word to describe their offense. We'll see what happens there. He looked pissed off and frustrated after the game. Everyone saw him slam his helmet on the ground and throw a little hissy fit, which I would too, playing with the Raiders. But I don't know. I also wanted to see Nuke Hopkins get traded. Potentially maybe like the Chiefs, because the Chiefs wide receiver room is god awful. As we saw, they lost to the Broncos 24-9. Couldn't get shit going on offense. I caught the tail end of the game, and then I saw the stat line: Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce without Taylor Swift. Oh, he only had 46 yards today. It's like, shut up. But I get it. It's annoying as a football fan. I get the promotion of it. Ellie Mack and I talked about it on the podcast, so you can hear a little bit more about that. Obviously, I was on the opposing side. She was more on the side of, hey, we should be doing it. We should be promoting Taylor Swift. I don't really know about that as a football fan, but to each their own, to each their own. Cool thing, touched on college football real quick. It is coming down to the wire. Every game means something. I think we're about to have a lot of meaningful games in the last 3 or 4 weeks here. Conference championships are going to be absolutely electric. Stay tuned for that. I'm really curious to see who goes to each championship game. Pac-12 is going to be a banger. SEC is going to be a banger. ACC should be okay. I don't really know if we can count that. Big 10 should be a banger. Big 12, whatever it is now. We'll see what happens. A lot of exciting things happening at the end of college football. Stay tuned for that. I know we're getting a little bit off track, but I'll rope us back into here. NFL coaches. It is that time of the year where some of them may not be with their teams much longer. I think candidates to get fired for this year: Josh McDaniels from the Las Vegas Raiders. My God, that dude cannot be a head coach for a team. Great offensive coordinator, just not a head coach. Doesn't have a motivation factor. Clearly, his teams don't want to play for him. I think that dude needs to get gone, but that's just my opinion. Matt Eberflus of the Bears, I think he's another candidate likely to be gone. Who's the fool for the Bucks? If they can find a way to win their division, maybe is it Todd Bowles? I think it's Todd Bowles. Because the Saints are starting to turn up. They look good against the Colts this week. That was a shitty loss to watch, but great for the Saints. Keep winning, doing your thing. What's his face from the Chargers? Brandon Staley. I think they need to get rid of him. The Chargers obviously need an offensive-minded coach. They need to go find someone else that can really help Justin Herbert become and realize his potential. Because you see the game last week, or was it? What were they? They were Sunday Night Football, and they were playing the Bears. Obviously, they dominated them, but they can't win against good teams. They need to do better. They literally just need to do better. But we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see how the rest of this NFL season pans out. There's a lot of teams that are kind of in the mix in the middle. For my team, the Colts, I think we're done for at this point. There's no real hope. We can put up. We're the only team to have 20 plus points scored in every single game this season. But we can't win those close games, and we can't win the turnover battle. Our defense isn't getting enough pressure. Our offense is making common mistakes. Thanks, Gardner Minshew. We just need to find a way to turn it around. But I don't think our head coach is a candidate for firing. That's for sure. Shane Steichen is probably going to be one of those premier names in the league as long as he can have a healthy, sustainable quarterback. AR, get healthy, bro. We need you. We really, 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 really need you. We'll see what happens. Excited to see for the future for the Colts. Other names that I can think of, not Sean Payton. They're going to keep him. Obviously, he is a guru. I think it's just taking a little bit of time to turn that team around. I'm surprised they didn't trade a few more players, but apparently they're keeping the squad together. I know they had reached out to a few teams about trading Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton. They're probably going to need another wide receiver in that team eventually, but they're probably having the thought process of, we can still develop him. Courtland Sutton's 28, Jerry Jeudy's 24. So Sutton's a little bit up on the older side, but Jerry Jeudy, they're going to have to sign him to a new contract here soon or get rid of him, trade him in the offseason. So we'll see what happens there. I think that's it. Maybe Kevin Stefanski from the Browns. Maybe. I mean, he's still putting up some decent numbers with the quarterback situation they got rocking there. PJ Walker, honestly, in my opinion, is better than Deshaun Watson, and they just need to stick with him. Deshaun, he's washed, dude. I don't even think. Who knows what's happening inside the building there? Let's get into the games. Because we gotta talk about them. There's been a lot of good games this week. A lot of meta games this week. I'll talk first. Let's talk Seahawks Browns. Final score 24 Seahawks, 20 to the Browns. Browns had a chance to win that one. And the Seahawks final drive drove down the field. I wouldn't say final drive because the Browns got the ball back, but Seahawks last drive drove down the field, scored a touchdown, put them up 24-20. And it's like, damn, okay. Browns had, I think, like 2 minutes to drive down and potentially score a touchdown to win the game, but just couldn't get it done. They have weapons on offense, but they don't have the quarterback. But in my opinion, PJ Walker should remain their starter for the rest of the year. If not, they probably, what I think would be better is to start developing Dorian Thompson Robinson, DTR, at a UCLA. That dude will be a stud in the NFL, in my opinion. The way we saw him play in the preseason was insane. He just really needs an opportunity to flourish in the NFL. Obviously, probably needs more time to develop in general as a quarterback. He was a little bit of a raw talent, but did play 5 years in college at UCLA. So if I were them, I would just give the shoe over to him, say, hey, let's figure it out. Let's get some games winning. But I don't think they're gonna do that. They're probably gonna find a way to get Deshaun Watson back in there, which is, the dude just doesn't look like he wants to play football anymore. He's collecting a paycheck. He just doesn't look motivated at all. And it's sad because he was supposed to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He had the opportunity and the potential to be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL this year and just hasn't actualized it. They say he's hurt. They say it's a shoulder injury, not a concussion, when they played against the Colts. But I think, worst comes to worst, I think they're better off sticking with PJ Walker for the rest of the year and just giving him the potential to run the fucking football. Kareem Hunt in the backfield dominating. Amari Cooper as a wide receiver. David Njoku had an incredible game. That dude is a premier talent as a tight end. Top 10 for sure. But they couldn't get the job done against the Seahawks. Their defense is incredible. We've seen it time and time and time again. I still think they're the number one defense in the league at this point. But you can't win games with just your defense. It's just not possible. It's unfortunate, but it's just not possible. You can have the number one defense in the league, but this is not the 1980s. You need to have a sustainable offense. They need to find a way to score more points. They need to do it on a consistent basis. We'll see what happens. Let's see who they're playing next week. The Cardinals. So it should be an easy dub. Way to get back on track. Hopefully figure it out. We'll see what happens there. But the Seahawks looked impressive, man. Defense played well. Offense played well. Found a way to get some points on the board. Started off a little bit shaky, but they found a way. They got the dub. They're 6-2 now, I think. In a division where it's gonna be tough, especially given the way the Niners are playing, dude. They are balling, except for this week and last week and the week before. I guess they're not balling. They're doing okay. Brock Purdy. Let's get into the Bengals and the Niners. Meh. Looks like the Heat's kind of settling down on Brock Purdy. He doesn't look like he is the quarterback of the future for the Niners if they want to be a top-tier talent. That could change. It could just be one of those 3-game skirts where they just kind of looked meh. But with all the talent that they have on offense, with all the talent, especially getting Trace Young on defense, that team needs to be number one in the NFL. They are one of the better built rosters. It's them and the Eagles in the NFL. Insanely talented, but they need to find a way to win games. They need to find win games against good opponents. The Bengals, everyone thought they were down and out, and all of a sudden they're not coming roaring back, beating these good teams. Joe Burrow was on fire against them, unsurprisingly. Jamar Chase doing his things. T. Higgins had a hell of a game with the Bengals. That was his breakout game of the year. The dude really, for being in a contract year, the dude has not played up to what he should be playing as, but we'll see if that changes. I'm excited to see where it goes on the future for the Bengals. They have the Bills on Sunday Night Football this week. That is going to be a banger. We have every primetime game this week is actually going to be fantastic coming into week 9. Looking forward to it. We'll talk about it in a little bit. We'll see what happens. Bengals, Niners, Joey B, 283, 2 tuds, 3 tuds. Brock Purdy, 365, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Can't turn the ball like that, bud. Can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it. Won't be a way to win in the NFL. Not a way for not a recipe for success in the NFL. So we'll see what happens there. Excited to see for the potential for the Niners. They have a tough schedule though. They have a tough schedule and they need to be able to sustain it for the rest of the season. Who else should we talk about, guys? Who else should we focus on? Lions Raiders last night was an okay game. The Lions broke it out in the fourth quarter, but even then the Raiders still had a chance to win. Panthers finally got their first dub this week against the Texans. The Texans are I mean, obviously they're a young team. They're developing. A lot of their defense is young. A lot of their offense is young. It's going to take time to really get the ball rolling. This is kind of an experimental year for them, but he lost to the worst team in the league. Bryce Young does not have any help on offense. It is him and him. His receivers, DJ Shark, and Adam Thielen are not number ones. I could argue they're not even number 2s anymore. Maybe DJ Shark's a number 2, but it's just he has no help. They should have traded for wide receiver. That would have been imagine Devontae Adams on there, give him a chance to really understand and develop. Nuke Hopkins, maybe not Nuke. Jerry Jeudy going back to the Panthers, not back to the Panthers, but going to the Panthers, operating with Bryce Young, Bama boys. That would have been a good option. They really need to this offseason find a way either to draft a solid receiver, which is tough because they traded away their first round pick, or they need to trade for someone, which is tough because you don't have a ton of trade assets this year. So you're giving away either future assets or you're trying to find a diamond in the rough in the draft. And there's going to be some, especially, I mean, you look at a dude on the Seahawks like Jake Bobo out of UCLA. The dude was undrafted, 7th round pick, and he is a stud for them. He had a touchdown against the Browns this week, rushing touchdown. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. Excited. Any other games that are kind of important? I mean, there's decent games. Falcons. Titans are playing the Steelers on Thursday Night Football this week. That will be a fun one. I think the Steelers are favored by 3, maybe 3.5 at home. but Kenny Pickett's hurt. Minka Fitzpatrick out. So I don't know. Titans traded away Kevin Byard and still found a way to play some decent team. I think it will be one of those games where it's like two mid teams, but it's going to be really exciting to watch. The Titans got some weapons. I believe they'll be starting Will Levis again. How did he do? I didn't pay attention to their scores at all. Or not the scores, but their game at all. I was too focused on the other games. Let's take a look here. Will Levis, 19 to 29, 238 yards and 4 tuds. Damn. That's impressive. I know the Falcons aren't the best team in the league, but it's still an NFL team. 238, 4 tuds. Derrick Henry finally broke 100 yards, 22, or I think he did it earlier this season, but 22 carries, 101 yards. So, about 4 yards a carry, a little over that. Luke Hopkins, 4 yards, 128 receptions, or 128, or 4 receptions, 128 yards, 3 tuds. Dude caught the ball 4 fucking times and scored 3 out of the 4 times. That's impressive. Excited to see what happens with the Steelers this week, especially with an injured secondary. Could be a fun game. Oh, I didn't even notice this. The Falcons were playing Taylor Heineke. 175, 1 tud. Bijan Robinson, 11 carries, 62, 1 tud. It's a decent game. We'll see what happens. The Falcons are going to be a good team, I think. Maybe 2-3 years. They just need a better quarterback. Desmond Ridder ain't it. Taylor Heineke, solid quarterback, but just not a starter. Maybe a fringe like 32. Maybe be the 32nd best quarterback in the league. Maybe. TBD. But yeah, decent games this week. I think next week's going to be a hell of a lot better. We have some banger games all throughout. Like I said, Titans Steelers on Thursday night should actually be a decent Thursday night game. Sunday night, we're waking up 6:30 in the morning. We got Dolphins Chiefs in Germany. First game in Germany this year. Looking forward the hell to that one. Shit. What else is going on this week? Bills, Bengals, Jets, even Jets Chargers should be a fun game on Monday Night Football. Look for the Jets to find a dub there. Chargers they might be more of a road team than they are a home team, because when the Chargers play at home, it's not home field advantage. It's usually 50-50, if not skewed to the other team. Rams is the home of LA is the home. Seahawks Ravens should be a bangaroo of a game. I'm surprised the Ravens didn't trade for another receiver. They need help at wide receiver. They have Mark Andrews, but he hasn't really turned up this year. Lamar Jackson's been solid. They need that extra little oomph to put them over the top. Not necessarily now, but when it comes to the playoffs, they really will need that. So we'll see there. Maybe someone will pop out, and they'll find a way to sign him. Maybe someone gets released, or who else? Was there anyone retired? Julian Edelman? No, never mind. Maybe not. But that should be a banger of a game. Outlook on week 9. This is really where this is the turning point. This is the halfway point. Week 9, week 8. We're really going to know who's good, who's okay. Good teams now know they're good. The bad teams now know they're bad. The first 4 weeks, it's tough to tell. The first 8 weeks, it kind of becomes a little bit more apparent. Like if you look at a team like the Colts per se, they're one of those mid of the pack teams, especially without Anthony Richardson. They can't consistently win a game. They just don't have it on offense to keep up with a team that's humming and hawing. They play the Panthers this week, which I am nervous about, because Frank Reich may be revenge game, or maybe it's a Colts revenge game against Frank Reich, because maybe Frank Reich gets fired this year. I mean, he always has the slowest starts in every NFL season. We'll see if the Panthers can turn it around. They can put 2 back-to-back, find a way to win against us. They're playing in Carolina, so should be a decent game. We'll see what happens. I will be pissed if the Colts lose, but I also could see it happening, given our record, given how we've been playing. It would be tight for the Colts to have a higher draft pick, find a way to get a solid receiver or a solid cornerback. We definitely need a cornerback. Kool-Aid McKinstry, if you want to come to the Colts, baby, we want you. MVJ or Marvin Harrison Jr., if you want to come to the Colts, we want you as well. But there's a lot of other good wide receivers coming out, so we'll see what happens. They got the full out of Texas. I think what's his face? I can't remember his name, but we'll see. We'll see. Here we go. Game of the week, upset of the week. Oh, we have Cowboys Eagles too in that primetime Fox spot on the afternoon game this week. Looking forward to that one. Is that gonna be my game of the week? I think the game that damn. First time ever. We're gonna have 3 games of the week since I don't have another co-host here. There's just too many good games to say there's only one game of the week. Game of the weeks this week, Dolphins Chiefs. Of course, like I said, in Germany. Should be a banger. I'm going to take the Dolphins to beat the Chiefs. I think that might also be my upset pick of the week. So I would assume right now the Chiefs are favored by 2.5. I don't think that's that big of an upset, but I am going to take the Dolphins in that one. They need a bounce back game. They beat the Patriots this year, but they really need to find a way to beat good teams. And I think this is their chance, especially given they're traveling overseas. Jalen Ramsey just came back. Chiefs are having wide receiver woes. I think this is one of the ones where they managed to find a way to take an L. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to pull it out. We'll call that one our upset of the week. Chiefs, Dolphins over Chiefs. Second game of the week. What are the 4 games of the week? Seahawks Ravens will be a good one. I don't know if that will call it a game of the week. Second game of the week. Cowboys Eagles. NFC East division rivalry. Can't wait. In Philadelphia, first game of that two-peat for the division game this year. I'm going to take the Eagles. But if the Cowboys find a way to win, that would be huge for them. Huge. I'm honestly, I would want to see the Cowboys win that game, which is shitty to say because I absolutely hate the Cowboys. They are one of my least favorite teams, just given their fan base. No offense, but like, ugh. I'm sure many people have that sentiment. That was loud. Third and final game of the week. Bills Bengals in Cincinnati. Oh, that's gonna be a good game. I would assume Bengals are opening up as like a point, maybe 2-3 point favorite. If I had to guess. I'm trying to see what the opening line is. We got all the lines here. Let's see. Bengals by 2. Called that one. Not surprised. I don't even gamble. I'm good at picking what the lines are going to be. Maybe I should be Vegas. Maybe that's what I should get into for work. Not a bad idea, but I don't want to live in Las Vegas. It's too hot. I'm going to take the Bengals. But if the Bills find a way to win, it's one of those ones similar to the Cowboys that if they find a way to win, it's a huge win for them. Given a good team, Bengals have a decent offense. Their defense is pretty fucking good. I did see what's his face Henderson got hurt this year though. Or Hickerson, whatever. Their defensive end. So we'll see. We shall see. You know who I may take to upset this week as well. You're gonna get 2 upset picks this week. I'm gonna take the Seahawks over the Ravens. Ravens are favored by 5.5 at this point. I think it's gonna be a close game. It'll be closer than 5.5 points. Seahawks defense is legit. They need to slow down Lamar Jackson, which will be tough. Lamar Jackson is 17 or 18-1 against NFC teams, so it'd be tough to overcome. But I'm gonna take him. I think it's a bit of a swing, but I'm going to take him. Oh fuck! Vikings are favorite. What? Here's the third one for you. Taking the Vikings over the Falcons. Falcons are favored by 4.5 or 4 points. I would assume they're probably going to start Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs is a good, serviceable quarterback. We'll see what happens. I'm going to call it there, guys. I don't want to keep rambling onto a microphone talking about some bullshit, but good week of NFL coming up here. Good week of college football coming up. I am really excited for this week. I'll be locked in this Sunday, I think, with Dirty Dan. We'll see what happens there. Guys, again, appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoy this video, please consider liking, subscribing. Check us out. We're on Instagram. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you can find your podcast. Check us out. Get to know us. Get to know us. I can't even speak today. Get to know us. Let us know what you think. There may be another little podcast going up here soon. Working on another little project, a little bit cannabis-based podcast because the Greenzone is definitely more in the sports realm. So stay tuned for that. I have a little announcement going there. Remember, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Go check us out on other podcasting platforms. I need to get more uploaded, but we'll get there. And yeah, we'll call it there. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys listening. And go smoke some fucking weed. Peace out. Have a great day.